I'm a sophomore here at Iowa State University, and I'm studying marketing and psychology, and I was also the treasurer of the Entrepreneurship Club for those 2 years. And that's actually where I met August. And so I was giving a session and a talk on the business model canvas, and he came up to me after that session, and he just asked me for some guidance, some tips, some tricks. We actually got dinner, and he talked to me about the pillars, how to include a revenue model within the pillars specifically. And so I really just gave him, pointers as to what I would do. I gave my perspective or my opinion on it. And that relationship really developed. So that was around late January, early February. And the relationship kind of evolved over time into March, where I was heavily focused on my own. I had two companies. One that I was primarily focusing on was True 360, which is a virtual reality company. And so late March is when, he asked if I could help out with marketing and sales, because that's really like my expertise. I'm an entrepreneur, but my focus is in marketing and sales. And so I didn't have much say in what actually happened. I didn't really know a lot, but come March is when I really started to take a bigger role and spend the majority of my time on it. August is a really kind and caring person, and he's actually an incredible speaker. He's inspirational, but I think really what it came down to was this lack of knowledge on how to actually set up and run a business. And so when I came in, some of the things that he was doing really well were setting up, events, workshops, setting up these coding classes in LaGrange, as some of you guys probably know about from reading the proposal. Did a really good job there. But as for, like when I came in, there was hardly a budget, or there wasn't a budget really. There was no business plan, and I think having a year projection is really important, at least a year, as well as like a sustainable revenue model, because, obviously Dash is very supportive and we're very thankful for what they've done. But in order to continue, Dash might lose interest, there's some like uncertainties. And so there was no kind of lean back for a revenue model there. That was missing. And then obviously, as you guys know, communication was really spotty there. And it sounds to me like what I've learned over these past 2 months is that there was absolutely, little to no communication as to what the funds were allocated to, how the events turned out, the hypotheses that he did propose to you guys. It didn't seem like we couldn't find any statistics as to follow-ups for that value proposition, which I know is, crucial for the Dash community, because they are looking for that expansion, they are looking for that growth, which is, obviously important for any company. And so I would say those were kind of the things that were done well and not so well. Yeah, so really it's more of an added scope. We're still really focusing on our workshops, but in order for this to be a sustainable business, we actually decided to take it into a 501c3 entity structure. For those who aren't familiar, that's a nonprofit entity where tax exemption is a benefit that we can provide. And so the new scope is, we really like this idea of experiential learning in STEM, because STEM is very underrepresented in the United States, I guess I should say just worldwide in general. And so, continuing that mission of bringing STEM to the underrepresented areas is big, but also what we found through customer discovery, which is a big part of the process that I take into consideration when starting a company, which is, calling these people who are our customers, who are going to be there, what are their needs and wants. And what we found out is that these brilliant individuals, both, I'm talking like even some elementary school kids, which was incredible, but primarily high school and middle school kids, had all these ideas, and they had no way of expressing those ideas or building them, nor did they have the resources for that. And so me coming in and learning about Dash and some of these other cryptocurrencies, as well as the proposal system that some of them offer, I thought it would be a great idea to utilize a proposal system for these kids to submit their ideas for projects, events, workshops, in just student initiatives in general. that would then go through a vetting process to mitigate risk on our end. And so that these kids can actually go out and, experience what they've been learning in school, right? Because you obtain all this knowledge in school, but it's limited in how much you actually get to apply. And so we want to be an outlet for that, for those kids that are really trying to take those next steps in life and make themselves unique. And so, in addition to the classes that we are still hosting, the original proposal, we're still hosting those classes in LaGrange, now Ames, which is really exciting. And then adding that proposal system so they can take that knowledge and push it into real-world applications. So we do really want to focus on giving kids, options. And so a lot of the mentors over in LaGrange still want to be paid in Dash, which is great. But obviously, there are some that are both too young and, they don't know enough about it, which is one thing that we're providing value to Dash for, is this knowledge to students who are, more than willing to learn about up-and-coming technologies. And so we are still following along that line, but, there's a lot of ways that we're going to be providing value in the future. So like hosting, the events and workshops where we teach students about Dash and the solution it provides, and that would get us like number of wallet downloads, cost per wallet, because I know that's big. So you guys know that you're not spending, $1,000 for one person to have a wallet. I mean, that just doesn't make any sense. So we can track those types of statistics, as well as, doing a lot of advertising, which is going to be really big because we are reaching tons and tons of schools. I've actually got something exciting I want to share with the Dash community coming up here regarding actually 8,000 schools that we're going to have access to for marketing and workshops, the proposal system, and so much more. And so, it again comes down to exposing the kids to this new technology and these new solutions. It comes down to the marketing and then Dash specific events. And I know we just passed a proposal for like a mini movie, which is going to be pretty cool. It takes an objective look at cryptocurrencies and Dash specifically and the solutions that it brings, which will be really interesting, and we're excited to share stuff like that. So just to cover a few things. In terms of delivering Dash engagement, I would say there's a few different things. The events that we've held have been huge. Like, I don't know if you're familiar, but we actually held an event in India, which had, I think, 100 to 100, it was like a 50 to 100 people, and that was completely on Dash. We had a speaker there representing Dash, and I know that those people were just so excited. And that's just one of the Dash events that we've held. We've had Blockchain Basics, where it was college, the market there was college students and getting them involved or interested at least. But yeah, I would say the biggest value that we bring is just the total impact of these people that don't actually know anything about cryptocurrency, and having Dash be that first cryptocurrency that they do learn about. And I have here some statistics for you. We've had 748 attendees at our event, and so that's from what we can muster up from the statistics we do have. But that's 748 new people that are interested in Dash. I know. I think it was 10 of them signed up for the wallet with me on the spot, and I don't know how many. I've only been to a couple of the events because I did a lot. I'm doing a lot of the management and stuff, so I don't get to attend all of them. But right then and there, that's 10 new downloads and 748 impacts, which is pretty cool. Well, so this is actually news as of yesterday. Byte will be, well, I should say we're working out the logistics of a partnership with STEMfuse, which is the largest STEM curriculum provider in the United States. And so we're working out a partnership with them, and they're going to allow us access to 8,000 of the schools that they're already a part of. And so, we're going to be bringing the word of Dash and any of our other sponsors We're going to be bringing that word to those people, to the kids, the parents, and we're going to be, again, hosting all these events and stuff around these schools that are going to be, well, depending on the scenario with Dash, it could be Dash specific, as well as all the proposals that are going to be passed. So, just tons and tons of exposure. We thought about a lot about mitigating risk, because there is a lot of risk involved, as you guys have learned through the previous situation, that some people won't necessarily follow through with what they've said. And so the solution, or one of the solutions that we're going to be utilizing within this system, is actually purchasing the equipment, or purchasing the resources in which the proposal owner needs. So that way, we can track the amount of money that is being spent on that, and there's no risk involved with them, saying there's this much money left and there's actually not, or just communication errors, or even just like collusion and stuff. But so that's like one of the ways that we're going to mitigate the risk. But yes, so students submit the proposal. It goes through our proposal committee review team, and they go through a defined list of criteria involved with identifying the best proposals out of the set that we get per month. And then the proposal owners are notified. They are told to present these milestones within the proposal, and so we fund them for that first set of milestones. So if it's creating a robot for $1,000, we'll say, we're going to quarter up the total payment so we'll start with $250. We'll spend $250 on getting you what you need in order to get started on your product, or your project, sorry. And then as you reach each milestone, you update both the community and Bit to Byte, and also the donors, with the information and the progress that you have until completion. And then upon completion, the information that they have been uploaded is put into a digital portfolio, and this digital portfolio is to be used for interviews for jobs. So they actually have tangible evidence of their skills, right? So like one of the major issues is going into an interview and just saying, I'm good at these things, but there's actually, unless you're just talking about it, there's no way to really portray that. And so we want to get kids into the habit of actually portraying tangible results, because obviously, as you know, that's going to be really important for a business, and even a college, right? So for students that are younger. Right. So in order for us to obtain revenue, we need to file as a 501c3 nonprofit entity. And that does take a lot of time. And luckily for us, we've got this partnership going with STEMFuse, and they're going to help us expedite that process. And so there's also a form 1023 that is required for tax exemption. And so because we are a nonprofit, companies that donate are going to want to write off that donation on their taxes for their own benefit. And so in order to obtain more donations, we'd like to have that completed so that our donors get the most value out of helping us out. Yeah, so obviously, one of the biggest barriers of entry for Dash is going to be that, that 5-dash investment, because, a lot of, obviously middle and high schoolers don't really have that money at their disposal. And if they do, they're saving it for college. And so, we do have access to Dash, including other cryptocurrencies, businesses that have already expressed interest in donating to us. We've started the process of writing government grants. We fall under a lot of the STEM categories, so we're applying for those government grants. And then there's the general public and philanthropists. So the revenue model really does stem from donations and believing in the mission that we're trying to provide to students. No, I don't think that the money was wisely spent at all. When I joined in, there had been $86,000 spent on equipment alone, which was absolutely absurd. Or actually, I'm sorry, $86,000 spent on compensation alone, and then equipment was 25% of that total operation. And like when I came in, that was really frustrating to see, because he kind of, I want a lot, I respect to August, but that lack of knowledge on tracking receipts, tracking transactions, having a budget, and following through with the proposal, or the value proposition. 80% on operations is absolutely ridiculous. I would expect to see numbers like that within the first month of obtaining an entity structure. So the limited liability company that they established, I would imagine to see 80% of operations there to get things set up, right? So having a system involved, having class standards and protocols, having insurance, because I know there's a lot of liability involved with having students, work on technologies, work with other students and stuff like that. And so I would have expected to see the majority of that done in that November, December, I think, period. But, we technically have to go through that process now, just because, you can't run a business without its protocols, right? And so that's what this previous month, this month have been really is using the remaining funds to get this as an established company that runs on defined protocols and is legal. So. We currently have about 3 months worth of runway. We've been digging in deep into the financials and trying to find receipts. We've contacted U.S. Bank multiple times. They have a terrible system set up for retrieving receipts. It's ridiculous. You can only get 10 per call, and it comes every 10 days. And so it's just, it's been a very, very long process for us to have the ability to give you guys all the information that you need. But while doing that, we actually uncovered, so there's 42,000 remaining in Dash, or in the funds, and then also we uncovered 42.95 Dash remaining in the Dash wallet. So that was good to see. We're bringing that in so that we can continue. But as for projections, we are looking at about 3 months worth of leeway in complete development mode. I would imagine development's going to be 1 to 2 more months. Obviously things are kind of sporadic as a startup, so it might change, but that's what we're looking at. Yeah, so we want to have a fully operating system for the proposal system, and then also setting up because the classes are going to be run through our platform, it's going to be our way of tracking their learning and the information that they're going to be portraying in return. It's going to be setting up that platform, first of all, the website, then the platform, and then following through with the promises that August made, such as the financial situation that I can only talk so much about, but that's very expensive with attorney fees and stuff like that. I would consider that development, because it's really like developing our business into something that's not reliant on liabilities as it is right now, well, technically not anymore. We just got word that the situation hasn't been addressed, and it's been 3 weeks since we initiated that legal matter, and so it's safe. It's relatively safe to assume that that situation has cleared up, and so that was pretty much our last liability and promise that we had to cover. We do really enjoy Dash, and we would love to come back because the community is great from what I've learned so far. I've only had 2 months to really talk to you guys and get to know you, but I do love the community, and I think it's a great solution for the future. And so I do see us coming back. I think it would be beneficial for Dash to jump on board while we are scaling accordingly for the exposure that we can bring. So as to get into the proposal hypotheses and measurable outcomes, we have pretty much 7 that we've identified as going to be like the most important for you guys. And that's going to be paying our mentors within our workshops with Dash. Obviously, they have the option. I can't necessarily guarantee that. But, that will allow us to track monthly downloads, transaction usage, number of wallet downloads, transaction amount, stuff like that. So we can obtain tangible statistics for you guys. At each event and workshop, we're going to teach kids about Dash and the solution that it provides. So again, it comes down to the wallet downloads, number of transactions. We're going to be hosting Dash-sponsored events. So similar to the one in India and the blockchain basics here at Iowa State, we're going to be hosting more of those with the continued support of Dash, so that, more exposure, more impacts, more wallet downloads. I'll probably stop saying that because you guys get the point from there, but just to continue each account rep. So we're going to have account reps that make purchases for these proposal owners to mitigate that risk again. And so they have the ability to use Dash for those transactions. So as a company, we'll be making transactions in Dash potentially. And then also, Dash advertising and promotion via merchandise. We've got shirts. We've handed out hundreds of shirts, water bottles, backpack stickers. I went to the Bitcoin Miami conference with August, and so I got a bunch of those Dash packets, those information packets, and so I've handed out all of those. I think it was 200 in total. And then reaching students will, very sorry about that. So yeah, reaching students will influence their perspective. And so, obviously, like, one of the biggest issues that I've recognized so far learning about Dash is that, and speaking with adults, is they're very stuck in this, like, I'm comfortable the way it is. The banking system works for me. I don't see any need for change. And I think students, specifically young adults, are more open for that change. And, that's our target market, right? And so that's a huge value that we're going to bring on influencing. My dad always said that I was the best salesman when I was little because I just begged for what I wanted, right? That's how kids are. And so, they're going to be talking about Dash. They're going to be talking about cryptocurrency, which is going to make their parents interested and think about it and look into it. And so, a lot of influence using that target market that I actually based on the proposals that I looked at, it doesn't look like a lot of the proposals are really reaching that market. And so I think that's a unique benefit that we provide. Yeah, so the team is really entirely new. I brought on a lot of trusted individuals that I've worked with before in my previous companies, and so we've brought. If you guys are familiar with Xander, he was a part of that original team. He's a great kid. We kept him on because he was still passionate about it. He still really liked the direction we were going in. So Xander is probably familiar with some of the people watching. He's still on, and then I brought on a CFO, so he's a graduate in marketing and finance. And, obviously he brings a lot of knowledge to the table for finances and giving you guys the information and statistics you need. So there's Andrew. His name is Andrew Owen. Brought on an additional marketer. His name is Jason Effner. He's going to help with, obviously, marketing and exposure, both for Byte, Dash, and other sponsors that we have. Let's see. And then we have Yamini and Do It. And Yamini is she's a senior now in computer engineering, and so she's going to be working on the development of the website and the platform and stuff like that. And then Do It is a senior in marketing and finance again, I think, but his passion and his skills lie in media. And so that's, his job is going to be providing you guys with cool videos, cool content, reflections from events, and stuff like that. Yeah, so, like, when he left, I really tried to express to him how, like, thankful we are to have him a part of what we do, and, like, he's always welcome to come back. But what was expressed to me, and the way it sounds, is that he is kind of just taking a step back, and because obviously, going into college is a big move for a lot of people. And so going into college and having this, I don't want to necessarily call it a burden, but this expectation on his shoulders, and a very large expectation at that, was very stressful for him. And, it kind of encompassed his life a little bit, and he got really, really involved to the point where it kind of, he got like really overwhelmed, and, he didn't really get to spend that freshman college year, which is, pretty important for a lot of people doing what kids do at this age, and I think he missed out on that, and I think that was important to him, and so I think that's what he's going to, just focus on doing what he's interested in. It sounds like he's really passionate about music and continuing in, the STEM education field. He said that he'd let me know if he's interested in coming back. He's always welcome, obviously. But yeah, so I think he just wants to take a step back and kind of get into that college feel for a little bit, and then, yeah, so that's my understanding. Um, Not necessarily, but I just wanted to say thank you guys for just continually helping us. Because coming into this, I was kind of worried that you guys would be on our backs about it, but you guys have been really patient with us, and obviously coming into something where there's a lot of weight. Like, I just kind of came in as all these liabilities, all these promises on my shoulders, but I believed in it so much, and you guys didn't you didn't just kind of push that in my face, which was really nice, and you allowed me time to get all the information that I could to you guys, and I just want to continue doing that because this is a new team. It's pretty much a new bit to Byte, and you guys should expect what you were promised, and that's what we're going to do our best to do.